Okay. Okay then. All right. Anyway, thank you, Terry. Okay. Good evening and welcome to the 5th of September meeting of Cabinet. Councillors and officers are reminded to put their mobile phone or electronic device on silent if they have one near them, and those present in the room should face forward, speaking directly into the microphones and not place papers or electronic devices between themselves and the microphones. Please would remote participants mute microphones when not speaking, and this will reduce feedback and background noise and save bandwidth to prevent loss of connection. Members of the council joining us remotely should leave cameras on. Officers leave cameras on only for the agenda item that they may be speaking on. After each item has been presented, I will invite members present in the room to ask questions. Those members joining us remotely will then be invited to speak, and they should indicate their wish to do so by using the raise hand facility. Only those members of Cabinet present in the room will be making the decisions, and I will confirm the result verbally for the benefit of those watching the webcast. Please be aware that there will be a time delay of around 5 seconds whilst a remote participant appears on the screen. Okay, agenda item 1, to resolve that the minutes of the last meeting be confirmed as a correct record of the proceedings and signed by me. Do you all agree?
So move.
Thank you very much. I can just move that out. Thank you, Malcolm. Agenda item 2, are there apologies for absence? Julie?
Yes, we've got apologies from Councillor Field.
Thank you. Malcolm, are there any additional agenda items?
There are no additional agenda items, Chair.
And are there any urgent decisions?
There are no urgent decisions.
Thank you. Disclosure of interests. There, I believe, are 2 members who have indicated that there's a disclosure of interest. That's Councillor Barnes on an item with regard to item, what is number 8, and that says Councillor Barnes is a member of the board of the housing company. Are there any other declarations? Kevin, thank you. Councillor Dixon.
Personal and pecuniary interest in item 6, as my wife is parish clerk to Breed Parish Council.
Thank you. And John, your hand is still up.
I'm trying to take it down. Yeah.
Good luck on that. You've got it down. Well done. Okay, so we can move into declarations. Item 6. Now, I believe item 6 being the community grant scheme round 1.
I'll repeat my declaration then.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Which I believe Nicola is going to present some of this, what went on is effectively. And thank you for that. And I think that Councillor Sue Projak will also wish to make a comment on this report, which is a really good news story. I think this is just one of these things which gives us a lot of satisfaction, knowing that there's this support out there. So, Nicola.
So within the report, it notes that the Community Grants Panel met in July early this year, and they've recommended awards for the 5 applications requesting a total of £65,000 in total, subject to conditions as in Appendix A. This will leave approximately £60,000 for round 2 to be opened in October and closing in December. It is proposed to ring-fence £15,000 from the 23-24 budget for a new grant, the Rother Reduce, Reuse, Recycle 2023 scheme, and this is requested to be approved. The grants criteria and application questions can be found in Appendix B. The report further gives an update to the Rother Community Lottery, which the first draw took place at the end of April, facilitating £12,000, of which £7,000 amongst the 68 good causes have been generated already. If ticket sales remain constant, the same number, the same cause, the potential analysed income facilitated to the groups is £23,500, with £17,000 of income to Rother District Council. I would recommend for the Cabinet to approve the grants as in Appendix A.
Thank you very much, Nick. And I think we're all rather delighted that the work that's been done by officers in bringing this forward and the panel that met under the chair of Councillor Projak in all these sort of worthy applications. Then I think there are a couple of members here that would also want to speak about specific applications, but Sue, I'll leave it with you to take the report.
Thank you. And first of all, obviously, thank you to our officer, Nicola, who actually has always thoroughly gone into the grants applications and asked the right questions. So every time I say, are they this, are they that, we know the answers already. So thank you for all your work on that. It is a matter of celebration, the 3 recommendations for us here. I'd like to thank also the members who support the applications. We are going to have later in the year, before Christmas, a tour of some of the applications, some of the things we've given grants for. So that will be another way to celebrate and actually see what the grants have been spent on. So that is the first part of the recommendation. The second part, which I'm really excited about, because I've always said to the council that East Sussex County Council are the ones responsible for our recycling, but we do not have any funding or resource for actually promoting it ourselves. And I know how difficult this is for some people. And I was brought up in the generation of make, do and mend, and I think that's coming back somewhat. And a lot of people don't know even how to sew a button up. And there are a lot of organisations that actually, well, for example, in Robertsbridge we have a repair cafe, and people are bringing anything from bikes to whatever for repair. So I think we are moving into times where people are thinking more about reduce, reuse and recycle. And this is a small grants application, but enough to, and I know communities out there, for example, there's a project on real nappies and things like that that could benefit from this type of grant. So I would ask members to actually pass the word round because that's a really good initiative. The promoting the grant scheme, I'm sure you've all read the applications we've got. There's some really, really interesting applications right across Rother, and interesting in that they are actually catering for quite unique situations, disabled people going sailing, that kind of thing. So I hope you've all read them. I hope you can all approve them. I'm very happy to move the 3 recommendations.
Thank you very much, Christine. Are there any members of Cabinet that wanted to make any observations as to where we are at the moment on this before I invite other members? Okay, I've got Councillor Neil Gordon, who would like for Breed, who would like to make some comments, and I think also his colleague Councillor Carl Maynard, who was involved in some of the pre-application work, I believe.
Hello. I must say it's fantastic news that you've offered Breed up as for some funding. The play provisions in Breed are very limited. The children are very disappointed. The pirate ship failed a playground check and was taken away. It's a great opportunity for the families to socialise, and quite often before and after school the families meet up and play in the playground. And certainly the new Captain Mannering tower units will be great accepted. But, well, I haven't tried one out yet, but I believe the children will really love them. And Broadacre Primary School were asked to survey the ideas. They've got 100 responses, and the children are very keen on the idea of the Captain Mannering tower.
Thank you very much, Neil, for bringing that forward. And if I can let Councillor Maynard, Carl, would you like to give us your views on the Captain Mannering play park, which no doubt you may have used?
Thank you very much indeed, Chairman. I certainly want to echo the comments that Councillor Gordon's just made. I mean, certainly I was involved in the early stages following the sad passing of Councillor Johnson. But I just want to say also, it is clearly a fantastic scheme there in Breed. It's got the full support of the local community, double underline the word community and community grants. Clearly, the parish council have been very much involved, and whilst Councillor Dixon is out of the room, I could make a complimentary comment about his dear wife, who, as parish clerk, and the rest of the parish council have really got their power of the weight of them wanting to get this going. And I think it's one of those community grants in a village, as I say, has got full community support. I just want to and it's not a twist of the knife, it's just a personal view. My own view is regarding the second part of the recommendation that historically, we've always supported recycling, and as part of our waste contract, to the current one, and before that, with the various different waste contracts that we've had over the years. I just do wonder if it's appropriate to take the money from this particular grant pot, and would hope that we would have found the money somewhere else. That's the only, if you like, negative comment about the what is in front of you this evening, but obviously I want to make it very clear that the principle of recycling, I think across the board there is political consensus. Thank you very much indeed, Chairman.
Yeah, thank you for those comments, and I'm sure they'll be taken forward when we are looking at that next project. Councillor Paul Osborne. Paul?
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, I would just echo what Councillor Prochak said. These community grants are, I'm on the panel, as you would know, and these community grant meetings are probably the best thing you can ever do in a council setting, because you're giving away money as opposed to taking it off people. So it is really, really good, and so satisfying. There's so much. So many people in so many communities have benefited over the years from this. And Malcolm came out round my patch a couple of weeks ago, and I showed him some of the grants that have gone in, some of the schemes that have gone in down at Canberra, so I can actually see on the ground what improvements are made. I did have a question for Nicola about the next round. I had an email over the August from a parish council, and she already answered it by saying the next round opens in October. So I should be replying to my email shortly saying hold fire until October and then get it in. So I just say I appreciate everything that goes on, and this is one of the better things that we do. Thank you very much, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Paul. Councillor Vinehall, Jonathan.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I just wanted to add a comment on the community lottery, because this kicked off in April this year. 56 organisations are now involved in that, which, if you think about it, that's a lot of organisations, and already
68 now.
68 now. That's fantastic. 68 organisations across Rother are promoting the lottery, and as a result they're receiving a significant amount of local funding, and it is producing significant funding to support the community grant, so that grant isn't at risk of cut in the future. And if you think about it, even the relatively modest amount of £17,000 which has come in the first period would have paid for probably two of these current applications. So that really underlines how that funding is important, and it will only improve. It will only get better and bigger as more organisations come on board and those organisations spread out. So I think congratulations actually to Councillor Prochak, who championed that project.
Yeah, I think we would endorse that. I think that the community grant as a scheme shows this collaboration of working, and it means that parishes and they can go out there and raise funds from various other sources, and then they can look to us, because some of the amounts are relatively modest, but they're making an impact and they're making a difference. And I think to make a difference in a community way is really, really part of what we should be doing as a district council. Are there any other... Councillor Bayliss, I didn't see your hand go up. I do beg your pardon. Christine.
Yes, thank you very much. And I would, as the seconder of the motion and also as a member of the panel, I would absolutely agree that this is a very rewarding duty that I have on Rother District Council, and it's great to see the projects. I just wanted to highlight a couple of things. The first is, if you add up the total money that all the projects cost, you're talking about £157,000. So whilst we don't give the whole 157,000, what we give enables match funding to come in. So quite often other organisations will only give their bit if we give our bit. And so actually this money, this funding, leads to quite a sizable investment in our parish council facilities. I've noted there's nothing in here for Bexhill, but rest assured that I will be promoting the grant scheme amongst all of the Bexhill organisations come for October. I also would like to say something about the community lottery. I think it's a brilliant idea, and I've been talking to various different organisations that have signed up to this. They appreciate, getting a regular source of income. It might be only very small at the moment, but they can see how easily this can build up. So if you take something like, I think, St Richard's Catholic Community College, I mean, I think they've sold a phenomenal amount of tickets to their parents and are getting a sort of, a sizable bit of money coming in on a regular basis. I always sort of look I always go to the draw on a Saturday night to see who's won. I was a winner, I think, week 2, and I got 3 extra tickets. But I think it's all very exciting, and I think we've had one £250 winner, or two £250, 3 in one night. So it's all very, so it's actually quite exciting, and it's really exciting when you then see on the list what organisations those ticket holders are supporting. So quite often they're supporting the sort of bigger pot for the lottery, which means that we get it in to distribute through the grants committee. But often they're supporting organisations like Friends of Little Common. Our school PTAs are doing really, really well in terms of signing up to this. It's really, really good scheme. And I know that the organisation that we're working with on this say that we're one of the best rollouts they've ever had. So congratulations to everyone involved, and I'll certainly promote it as much as I can when there's news to promote. Thank you.
Good. Thank you for that positive endorsement of it all. I think we're ready to vote on this. Those in favour of the recommendation? That's perfect, so that's unanimous, and thank you very much, Nicola. And I think it does give us a buzz because it's all about facilitating, isn't it? It's an enabler towards making things happen. John, did you want to make a comment on this report?
No, I wanted to declare an interest on the next item as well as the last one. I am chairman of Etchingham Parish Council.
Right, we move on to the next report. Councillor Harmer.
Thank you. I think you might have missed my hand. I just did want to echo what's already been said about the community grant. Offer congratulations. It's a wonderful thing. It's very exciting to know now we've got 68 participants. And personally thank Nicola for being extremely supportive with our community groups. I think as a community group we need to get a bit slicker with the link to keep it live, so we've got a bit of learning to do. But I just wanted to pass on my thanks. It's very successful. Thank you very much.
Thank you for those words from the Chairman of the Council. Thank you. Right, we can move on to agenda item 7. This is the Village Hall's energy project, and forgive me, it's Elise. I beg your pardon. You look slightly differently tonight, Elise, so forgive me. We'll present this report. And again, this is another real positive facility that's being put in place for so much benefit. So we look forward to you putting it forward and telling us all about it, please.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. The report has been submitted to Cabinet this evening to gain approval to progress the Village Hall's energy project by recommending to full council that it be included in the council's capital programme with a budget of £500,000, that being funded by the SIL Climate Emergency Bonus Fund, which was approved by the SIL Allocations Panel in July. As per the report, the aim of the project is to reduce the carbon footprints of our village and community halls across Rother, with 39 eligible halls already having confirmed their interest in participating. So the project would see each participating hall undergo, first of all, an assessment and have a bespoke action plan created, which would suggest the measures they could take to improve their energy efficiency and decarbonise their operations. viability for installing renewables like solar panels, etc., and electric vehicle charging points will also be considered at each site. We would then move to the second phase of the project, procuring a contractor to carry out the most effective measures that have been identified, and those would be prioritised across all sites according to several criteria as set out in the report. So subject to full council approval, the recommendation is that delegated authority be granted to the Director of Place and Climate Change to accept the funding and to procure the necessary contractors to complete the project.
Thank you very much indeed. Ben, did you want to make any comments regarding this report from your team?
Thank you, Chairman. I think Elise has summed it up quite nicely. I think this is a real opportunity to use community infrastructure levy to make a real difference, both in terms of our climate agenda, but also in terms of facilities that are used throughout the district. And I think Elise has covered the main bases. What we'll look to do is once we've accepted the funding, get it implemented as quickly as possible and maximise the impact.
Thank you very much indeed. I just think there's another great example here of the way that we can facilitate and enable things to happen. And there's a source of funding, and that's really what it's about. It's touching so many people out there. So comments to be made from Councillor Project, sir.
Councillor Field is not here, and I'm happy to substitute for her, and thank you so much for your report and all your work on this. Because how many, I think it's something like 37 halls have already expressed a definite interest in this. It couldn't have come at a better time. With the energy costs that our community groups are going to be facing. Already they're facing. So I like the expression as quickly as possible. And I know in council terms as quickly as possible doesn't mean tomorrow, but I know we will get on with it as quickly as possible. It's just such a boost. I mean, I read a report recently about how parish councils and councils and organisations are looking at warm places where people could just go to keep warm. I mean, that's a shocking thing in this day and age, but maybe our village halls could be part of that scheme. And so it's a brilliant scheme, funded, as you've said, and will actually save a lot of money. So thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Councillor Timpey.
Thank you, Chair. I did ask this before, Ben, but maybe you've had a chance to check. The venue in Ashburnham refused to participate. I just wondered, or declined to participate. Did you manage to find out why?
We did. I think it's to do with Councillor Project actually knows a lot better than I, so it might be better to defer to somebody who knows the information better than I.
Exactly, Charles, thank you. The Bodiam didn't want to participate because they don't have a village hall, and Ashburnham are working on a new village hall. So that's the problem.
Okay, you've got that? Yep, that's fine. Anybody? Councillor Byrne? Terry?
Thank you, Doug. This is a sort of general comment about not only item 7, but item 6 as well. So we have the Community Grants Panel and we have the Community Infrastructure Levy Awards Panel. Both of these, and this is an unashamedly political comment, both of these were set up by this administration. Now, in my first year, when I was chairman for the first year of the Alliance, I got told off, castigated, by Councillor Project very often for saying Bexhill when I should have said Rother. And I think this is a demonstration that those two mechanisms now enable council money, enable people from the parishes and right across Rother to bid for slices of money in a fair and open way. And both these agenda items have just got support from all angles because they're enabling really good community projects to take off. So I think we deserve a pat on the back for setting up those two mechanisms. Thank you.
Some of them pat Terry on the back if you've got better about that. So I'll go along with that. Councillor Vinehall, Jonathan.
Yeah, I think a minor correction. I think it's the lottery section of the community grants that the current administration set up. this came out of a discussion during one of the meetings with climate change, I think it was, this suggestion. It's one that I've put forward on a number of occasions, and I'm really pleased that somehow the officers magically picked it up. I think I probably thank Elise for that, who's really picked it up and run with it. It would not have happened without the climate change bonus fund in the CIL, which is something which was, again, as a result of this administration, and it's a significant amount of money and is being used incredibly wisely. It's delivering with speed, that's relative to local authority speed, that is, something really materially important to communities, which is, one, saving those village halls money, and in fact probably paying them money back, which is going into a very good cause, because most village halls really have to work hard. And what I would say is that if every building that could cope with solar panels had them, we wouldn't have an energy crisis. At the moment, we wouldn't. Or we'd certainly have a much reduced energy problem, because enough energy would be fed back to the grid, and that is all those industrial buildings out there that sit there without that facility. So I think hopefully this is a real indication of the sort of things that we should do to go forward, and unfortunately the people in Ashburnham Parish Council will have to hold the panels up by themselves because they don't have a village hall to put them on yet. So I endorse this and second it, absolutely.
Thank you, Jonathan, and I think we all do. And it's just I think, Elise, you didn't join us until about June, did you?
Sorry, was that?
Did you join us in about June of this year?
May, at the beginning of May.
Yeah. So this was sort of come through a meeting in April, and here we are sort of September, and it's happening. And I think that's the exciting thing of it, that that we've actually said, well, things do take a long time, but we've really got to grips with this, and there's a real benefit. And as Sue said, the timing is important with the bills, the fuel crisis that we're looming. And so thank you very much for that. So I think we can now perhaps vote on this, and everyone else wants to make it. Sorry, before we get there, John, I do beg your pardon, and then also Councillor Osborne. I got carried away. John, you're redeclaring, but you may want to make a comment as well.
I want to make a comment, but first I do need to redeclare that I am a member of Etchingham Parish Council, currently its chairman. Ours is going to be a slightly difficult issue because, of course, at Etchingham, the halls are shared with the school. And one of the rather sillier decisions that was taken by the architect of the school was to make the central heating very largely dependent on propane gas, which was one of the more short-sighted decisions. Let me say at once that while I find this very welcome, I wish that the energy we're feeding back onto the grid was going to a grid that is carbon neutral, but of course it's not at the moment carbon neutral. It will get there. What worries me is, although £500,000 is very welcome, it's not going to go as far as I think many of us would wish in terms of actually generating energy for our village halls that is actually carbon positive. And I think we probably need, and I don't want to make the best the enemy of the good, so more power to your elbow going ahead with this scheme. But I do think we need to look across rather at whether we can make our village halls the centerpieces for community energy schemes, which make some of our houses also benefit and take them off the grid, because I think in a few years' time the grid is going to be pretty overloaded as we move to electric cars and other forms of electric transport. So I think this is a very worthwhile project in its own right, but I think we need possibly to look at more ambitious schemes in the future. Thank you very much, Leader.
Thank you, John. I think they're interesting comments you made, and perhaps I can just invite Ben Hook to respond before I invite Councillor Paul Osborne.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, I mean, I think it's been well recognised by both the SIL panel and the environment and the Climate Change Steering Group that this, as, you know, sort of, as well as now in this meeting, that the £500,000 is not going to deliver all of the ambitions that we want in this. And what we've sought to reassure is that this is a phase one. So all of those village halls that have chosen to participate will get an assessment. So everybody gets some benefit out of it. And then we'll be looking to do a prioritisation approach to understand which of those we can get the most benefit out of with the remaining funding in the first instance. But what that does do is enable us at a later date, when the funds have replenished themselves through further building of houses and SIL payments, that we can then come back, ask for a bit more to continue to deliver those and evolve the project as we go forward. So,
yeah, thank you for that, Ben. Perhaps Councillor Vinehall, Jonathan, perhaps you might.
Yeah, a really quick one, because I think this talks about SIL, and firstly, SIL continues to increase, so it's not a fixed fund, and I think that's a really important point. Already since, I think, when we looked at this in the SIL panel, I think there was about £1 million in that fund. It's probably, gone up since that time, because it goes up with construction. But the whole of the SIL structure now is designed to help motivate those who may be either negative or concerned about building to see that you can have real benefits. So that, it's about showing that communities can actually benefit from appropriate development, and that's important. And out of that can come these really strong positive benefits. And I don't think that I've spoken to anyone in any community that isn't becoming increasingly aware of whether it's just straight climate change, biodiversity, or the need to just really look to how you do basic insulation in your house. So that is what that new strategy on SIL is designed to do, and to be able to bring these things, to reality far quicker.
Yeah, thank you for those comments. Councillor Paul Osborne. Paul?
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, I won't be quite as negative as Councillor Barnes. I see things on the sunny side of the tree, if you like. I would say, firstly, the community grant scheme. I know we're not on that now, but that grant panel has been meeting for many years. So that's just to tidy that up. I think with Councillor Vinehall was right with the SIL. When the SIL was first sort of introduced, possibly 7 or 8 years ago, by David Marlowe at the time and his team working, it was always envisaged that it would bring in anywhere up to sort of 35 to 40 million quid, over a sort of a period of time. And obviously, the first few years, very little happens because planning permissions are already in place. So now we're getting the benefit now, if you like, ramping up. It was always sort of looked at once sort of North Bexhill really got going, is when we would sort of see more money come in, which would be needed to support infrastructure and everything else around North Bexhill. So it's nice to see money coming into the countryside, and the village hall scheme is absolutely spot on. It, like the community grants, it affects so many people, every single community almost. So that can only be a good thing. And as Ben said, this is ultimately the first sort of stage. And as more development takes place, obviously more money comes in, and that can be spent on, phase 2 and phase 3. So I think this is really positive, and it does everything that we're looking to, or you're looking to as a council, we're looking to as a council to reduce emissions, reduce costs, improve environment, everything. So I think it's great. Thank you very much, Chairman.
Yep, thank you very much, Paul, for the endorsement on that. I think we all recognise that this is a great enabler, and it's ongoing. So there's a flow of funds that will enable us to continue going in that direction. No other comments. So, Sue, are you going to? Yes, you have done. Is someone seconding this?
Yeah.
Yep, and those in favour, please. And that's unanimous. And thank you very much indeed for the report. Ben, for you and your team bringing this together. So we move on to agenda item 8. Now who's declaring here? John, I think you're re-declaring here based on the fact that you're a director of the Rother District Council.
Yes, Leader, I'm advised that I'm not allowed to talk about the company's affairs, but I am allowed to comment if I wish. I probably won't, on the council's relationship with the company.
Well, that's a result, John. Thank you very much indeed for that comment. Okay, so where are we on this? This is a report that's coming forward from Malcolm.
Thank you, Chairman, and I will hold Councillor Barnes to his previous statement. It's not often I will do this, members, but this is a report on it was a delegation given some time ago, and it's not often I will bring a report back asking for the same delegation again, but because the context in which the delegation had been given, I thought in the spirit of openness and transparency that members should be aware of that. And the long and the short is I'm asking you to give me the same delegation, but just being clear on the circumstances of that. And basically the end of paragraph 2, is the key statement. It wasn't in the actual minutes of the last meeting, but it was contained in it wasn't in the delegation, but it was contained in the body of the report, which was that the price paid should not be less than the unfunded costs. The report goes on to explain that it is likely that the price we will pay will be less than the unfunded costs, so that rather than getting a lump sum at this stage, what we will get is the money back over a period of time. I don't believe it changes the actual need for the delegation and the importance of having that, but I think it was important that before exercising that delegation, that Cabinet were fully in agreement with that, and of course that will be done in consultation with the Councillors Dixon and Councillors Giowan as well. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Malcolm. Are there any questions? If not, I will invite Kevin to move this motion, this report.
Thank you, Chairman. Happy to move this and reaffirm the delegation.
Somebody to second that? Yep, thank you, Hazel. And we can take a vote on that. There's nobody on the screen that wants to ask a question, so those in favour? And that's unanimous. Thank you, everybody. 7:08, the meeting is officially closed, and thank you for those that are either viewing or those who have joined us in the chamber or externally. And good evening to you all.